welcome to Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm Panet.
I'm V-Fire.
And I'm David.
Yeah!
Yay!
David!
How are we recovering post-bonsai?
I am exhausted. But
I've slept so dang much.
Good.
I don't think we announced it yet, like officially on the podcast, but I won Best Performance in the beginner class for my Hollow Knight.
Freaking amazing. I was just like, I love this. Photos.
That was so cool. We are so proud of you, David. And also proud of the other Stitch and Seamers that were in the contest and placed. That was freaking cool.
Yeah.
It was so
And
neat.
even those that didn't, it was really cool to see your costumes up close and get to see these work in progresses that people post to the Facebook and the Discord and
tagging
get to
us
see
on
it up
Instagram.
close. Yeah.
Oh man, seeing some of those in person, it was just this is amazing.
Yeah. So speaking of, if you guys want to share your progress, reach out to us, any number of things, there are several ways you can do that. First is our email, which is cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com, or
you can go to the website and fill a Google form at cosplaystitchandseam.com, or
Go to the Facebook page and send us your messages there. Share your work in progress with our Work in Progress Wednesday group on the Facebook page. If you're not a big fan of Facebook, we totally get that. We do have a Discord that we drop a link on our Facebook and Twitter every now and again. So make sure that you go check that out and make sure that you join us. Eventually, we'll have more of a stable link, but we want to make sure that our Discord doesn't get overwhelmed very all of a sudden.
If you want to know where a permanent one is, hit me up.
Okay.
I got lazy with Twitter.
If you are on the internet and you want to support the show, there are many different ways that you can do that. You can join the super secret club where you share the podcast with a friend, family member, or someone who may just enjoy an episode. Oh. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, on Podchaser, or wherever they let you leave those. Those help us out, and we even give you a one-time shout-out on the show. Speaking of shout-outs, if you join our Patreon at $3 a month, we will give you a shout-out every single episode. And at $5 a month, you can join the Cosplay Chronicles!
Chronicles. Nice. Thank you for the lower register. I appreciate that.
I got you. Our next episode should be coming out in December 5th, assuming that we don't have all the holiday schedule issues that comes around with that time of the year. So we'll keep you posted in our Patreon and on our main feeds. And that's it for my side of things. Now you guys talk.
Hey.
Talk.
Have we got any upcoming conventions? I know in January I'll be on staff at Anime Los Angeles. Me and my co-showrunner, Katrina, will be doing the cosplay contest Masquerade. We have some really awesome judges. I'm so excited. We have Stellar Rose and Barracuda. No, Stellar Rose is the cosplay group name. It's made up of Barracuda Cosplay and Chibi Tifa Cosplay. And they're the current Team USA from World Cosplay Summit. And then we have... I know, I'm so excited. They did a really cool Utena skit. And then we also have Lexi Chu, who was last year's Master Craftsmanship winner. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
A really dope, judging panel.
I'm so excited. And Lexi has, a ton of, hands-on industry experience that's really cool that she's bringing. So I'm very excited for all three of them. You guys going to any shows?
I am not a human being anymore. I am a sloth.
Sloths are good, though.
Yes. I want to go to ALA, but I can't afford it right now, which is okay. But I am going to go to Level Up Expo and
heck yeah.
trying to get you two to come with.
I would love to go.
Because I just want to go and just party.
Yes.
Also, video games. It's a video game convention, so yes.
So how are you not going? You know what would be great to try out at your new conventions is foxbeautycosmetics.com, which is foxxbeautycosmetics.com. You can use the promo code Stitch and Seam to get 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products.
That seamless transition.
I know,
Seamless.
So good.
So good. I did not screw it up.
No. Well.
Transitioning again.
Yeah, exactly. So here's a really smooth transition. Mercedes, what's today's episode about?
Alrighty. Super smooth. Today's episode is about our panel, Create the Impossible at Anime Bonsai last month. So I think when this episode airs, it'll be last month. So time travel.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to get all the images I told you I would get during the panel and post
yes. So I can put them on the blog.
Yeah.
Yes. So Create the Impossible is an awesome panel that I do every year at Anime Bonsai, where I pull in guests who have just either got out there and made really big stuff, and they talk about their cosplay journey, how they even if they haven't created that impossible dream cosplay of theirs yet, they talk about their journey of how they've gotten to where they are now, just kind of showing, we all start somewhere. Pannon, did I have you and Melissa on it for the first year that I did it?
I don't think. I think this was my first time being on it.
You sure?
So yeah.
I swear, because I was like, I have Team USA on my panel. But it was the first year I did it, so it's it wasn't even recorded or anything.
Maybe. I just have a bad memory of back then, so.
It was a long time ago, because I've been doing this for a while now, so. But I'm so excited to be able to share the recordings with you guys, and it's super dope.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
The guests for this one are Pannon.
Yeah.
So yeah, our guests were Pannon, Winterfox, and
Misty Nin.
Or
just Mist.
Yes, Mist. I almost used her actual name. But yeah, it was super good. So here they are. Hello, everyone! I always super duper love this panel. So this is Create the Impossible. I do this one every year at Anime Bonsai, where I invite creative types on to talk about their dreams of the impossible and how they're going to get there, to those who have created their impossible and how they got there. Just kind of showing that everyone starts somewhere and they can build up and get up to that point for themselves. So my special guest for this year, let's go ahead. We'll start right here.
Hello, I'm Mist, or Misty Nin Studio. I've been cosplaying since about 2011, or at least that's when I started making my own costumes. I'm not a very prolific cosplayer, but I put everything into my details.
You very much do. Yes. And then?
I'm Daniel, or Fox. I'm the owner of Fox Beauty. I've been cosplaying since about 2012, 2013. I just like to put makeup on and look different because it's fun.
Yay! You're beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And who's this person?
I'm Pannon. This marks my 20th year doing cosplay. I know. I feel ancient. And I've made about 300 cosplays for myself in that time, and then others I've commissioned. I used to build the mascot costumes for the Utah Jazz, the Denver Broncos, Chicago Bulls, and a lot of other ones like the Jack Link's Jerky, Sasquatch, and things like that. And then I've also done red carpet gowns, so all over the place. And then I have been able to represent the U.S. twice in international competition, once in Japan for World Cosplay Summit and once in the Netherlands for the C4 competition. So, yay!
Yay! All right, so Oh, okay, cool. I was like, did I do a set of questions for this one? I did not. I forgot. I always wing this one. So I have each of you on here because you have amazing sets of talents, and all cosplayers, we all start somewhere with you know, throwing together a cosplay out of bed sheets like I did, or like all of us have our first beginning kind of thing. So for starters, I want you guys to tell us about your first cosplay.
Oh.
That we made or that we wore?
Made or wore.
Okay. Okay. My first cosplay was Roxas from Kingdom Hearts 2. It was actually what got me into cosplay. My mom bought it for me for Christmas with gold tickets for FanX the very first year it ever happened. And that just kind of skyrocketed my way into me making my first costume, which was a male Harley Quinn, just because I was obsessed with Harley Quinn in high school. Still a little bit am today. Like, we love her.
I was gonna say, David, another male Harley Quinn.
I'll do it with you, 100%. Let's go.
It.
I'll do drag Joker. I'm down. But yeah, I just kind of started getting into stuff, and then every time I thought I finished something and knew everything about it, there was another thing to learn. So I just kept going and learning everything that I could. And if I got bored with one thing, I would just move to the next one, just kind of learn and kind of like generalize myself with everything. And now I'm here.
Nice. That's so fun. It's hard to remember like which one was my first one. I know the first one I wore like knowingly knowing it was cosplay, and that was of course Sailor Moon. And my mom helped me put it together for Halloween. It was before I knew much about conventions. And it was the first and only time she helped me with a costume, because I was like, no, Mom, it needs to look like this. No, it's you know, because that's what kids do.
It must be accurate, Mom.
And after that one, she was just like, next time you can just do this, because I'm not gonna. You're too picky about what it needs to look like. 'Cause, you know, with Sailor Moon, it was before a lot of the patterns came out, before there was like, you could just go to Joann's and be like, I want a Sailor Moon pattern. And it has so many particulars of the, like, it's so fitted and the skirt looks just so, and it has the weird hip roll things, and she was pretty done with it by the end. And I had no idea how to do wigs, so I raided my mom's crafting closet, and I got this bright yellow yarn, and I just like made a little ball at the end and put like sticky gemstones on the like little odongo things, and I just pinned them into my hair once I put it up in pigtails. So I just had these like bright yellow things with my regular hair, and went trick-or-treating in that. And people were like, I have no idea what that is, but good for you. Yeah. So that was me.
So I had a couple of cosplays that I had people made, and I don't remember which order I had them in. So my first cosplay that I made was actually Saber from Fate's Day Night.
That is ambitious first build.
Wow. So I will put the caveat that my mom is a master tailor, so I grew up with a sewing machine. And if I had any questions, she helped me out. I found a couple of patterns that I was able to Frankenstein together for it. The ambitious part to me was, I'm like, no, she wears armor. Armor is metal. I need to make it out of metal. So my first armor build was actually out of galvanized steel, like ductwork that you get at Lowe's and Home Depot. And
I remember seeing you in that, yeah.
Yeah, so I joke that I went backwards, because my first armor was metal, and then it was Wonderflex, and then it was crack foam. But yeah, it was very interesting, and there are so many things on the inside. Like, I didn't have a serger, and so at the inside edges of all my seams, I tried to use Fray Check to try to, like, all of the seams.
Oh, wow.
That's ambitious.
The first time I washed it, yeah. Fray Check doesn't hold up through the wash.
Dang it.
So yeah, that was my first one.
Sweet. Great learning experience for all.
So each of you have brought your story to tell. So I'm going to have you actually start, because then I only have to trade this once.
Okay. That makes sense.
So just kind of I always ask my panelists, it's like, you can tell a story about something that was an ambitious build for you, or like what your journey has been getting into cosplay. So that's a lot left up to them. So I'm counting on you guys to make this panel. No, I'm just kidding. I know you'll make it awesome because you guys are all amazing. Okay.
So
all right. And be aware, this is be as auditorily descriptive because we are recording this for the Stitch and Seam podcast. So if anyone has questions and whatnot, we'll repeat them to the microphone. So yeah, all right.
So my story is about the costume that I'm wearing today. This is the first and realistically at this point only time I have gotten a Best in Show award. It's Lynn Setsua from Thunderbolt Fantasy. And when I saw this, I saw the show on Crunchyroll. I thought, it's just like a ball jointed doll show. I'm not interested in that. And then I went to SakuraCon with a friend, and the Good Smile booth had the actual dolls. So this image is the original concept art, as well as the picture of the doll that I was able to take myself. So my friend and I looked at the dolls and turned to each other and said, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Are we crazy enough to do this? Do I hate myself that much?" Apparently, yes, I do. Because at this point, we didn't have a convention that we wanted to compete at. So we're like, okay, we're going to do this thing, but that means we need to compete somewhere. So while I was at the con and my camera, I took as many pictures as I could. I went around, and the same thing goes for anime, get as many screen captures as you can, as many angles. This one, because it's a real life physical object, I was able to get all around it, get the top views, get the, down close in. I have so many pictures of just this doll from the convention. I think I took more pictures of the doll than anything else at the convention.
Being able to get references like that, though, is such a rare opportunity.
It's like essentially straight from the source in this case.
Yeah, and I had a friend who actually got to see the dolls and handle them that was able to give me a couple of tips on a couple of things. And I'm like, I think I'm going to do this way. And she's like, oh yeah, that's how they do it for the doll. I'm like, awesome.
Got it.
So because it's a real life thing, I got really, really nitpicky. I'm like, okay, they made this. That means that all of these materials, everything exists in real life. I can find them, right?
Oh boy. That's awesome.
I was able to find a few of them. So in this image, the red, this is the exact same brocade design that they have. Same with the black and silver brocade. It's the exact same design that I have on the dolls.
I'm just looking.
Yeah. The funny thing is the brocade, the biggest part of the brocade besides these lovely little straps that go around me, is the shoes. Most of the brocade is actually used on the shoes.
Nice.
And it's a silk brocade.
Yes.
How did you manage to find it?
So how did you manage to find
I managed to find it online. So I went and I used different search terms. So I knew it was a brocade. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a silk brocade or if I could find it in polyester. I didn't care. So I looked for, I think I looked for the terms like black dragon brocade, silver dragon brocade, and just went through images and images and images. And once I found the right image, I went into the searches of where that image, what page those images were on. So for that one, I actually found the fabric vendor was actually in California. And so I was able to order it, and it didn't have very long delivery time. So it was really awesome.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it's silk brocade, so it was kind of pricey.
How much of that did you use in the costume?
I think I ended up using about somewhere between half a yard and a yard.
Oh, okay.
I didn't buy very much, but like I think it was like $15 or $16 a yard, which at the time was more than I was spending.
Sure.
That is not the most expensive I spent on this.
Yeah.
Also, these little end cap things was another thing that the beads. I got really nitpicky about because, again, I'm like, those have to exist. And I did actually find them. They're only used end caps of these ropes. There's like 5 of them on here, and that's it.
Oh. Huh.
Obviously, they're much smaller on me than they are on the doll, but they are the actual exact design. And then the other fabric is as close as I could get, but has both the lines in it with silver and the white. And then when you can't get the exact fabric, you make it.
I love this part.
So this costume is actually the first costume that I tried this, and I have done it several times since then because I enjoy it. There's a lovely website called Spoonflower. You can design your own fabrics and print exactly the fabric you want. So if you're like me and you get really nitpicky about color, or you get really nitpicky about, I need this specific design for this character, you can design it and print it. It is a little bit more pricey. It was the most expensive fabric on this costume.
I was pointing at Sadie, and it's like, her and I have done that for my chic before spandex chainmail became an available thing at Joanne. I had to do that for myself. And I went through Fabric on Demand, which is another one. They print a little darker. Yeah, they print a little darker than Spoonflower.
I might try that.
So, but you have to be aware of that, because if you make your image too dark, it just kind of is dark.
Yeah.
But it means it takes longer to fade.
Yeah, Spoonflowers, they tend to be lighter, so I have to oversaturate my colors.
Yes.
They do require that you get a test print done, a sample, and send it to yourself, but then you can make it available for other people. So other people who maybe aren't designers but want to do the cosplay can find it.
Which is fantastic for them to do.
Yeah, so the little samples, those are my sample prints. I scaled it down so that I could get the full gradient on the small piece, even though the full gradient goes the entire yard.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I've done that on a few different prints, and I'm glad I did. And that's actually how I have this material for my mask.
Aww.
I used my sample piece.
Perfect.
For my mask.
And
So-
it matches. Love it.
And then dye, and so the painting braid, that's braid. I went to the extra detail of, that's on the shoes. And then the stripes, so the stripe fabric was close, but not quite what I needed. And I ended up spending 14 hours with my serger, serging lines into fabric to create a more detailed texture line for the jacket. And in some of the reference images, it showed the same fabric on the legs, but my original reference images showed just plain white satin. So I'm like, nope. Sometimes if you've got different references and you've got a lot of work, it's sometimes better to go with the simpler one. So I made, I spent the extra hours to put into that to make it exact as possible. And then a lot of my props, I went in and sculpted. So actually,
these captions on your
PowerPoint, sorry. The slides all, look, Mom, using that art degree.
Yeah. So I work at a call center. I have a degree in art. That's why I work at a call center. So this is actually some of my favorite props that I've ever made in detail work. And I used a new material that I had never used. It's not made for cosplayers. It's called JB Water Weld.
Oh, I love that stuff.
Water weld, wood weld. It is a 2-part epoxy meant for plumbers.
Yep.
But
or crazy experiments that my husband does.
So if you're using a plastic base, it sculpts. It has a fairly quick setting time, but it is, because it's an epoxy, you don't have to bake it. It sets in place. So
I would have never guessed that was on there. Like, that's amazing.
all of the silver bits, except for this right here, is JB
It's so
Water Weld.
good.
I really
Hannah
want to
wants to look
see.
at it.
So pretty.
Thank you.
I'll show you something fun with that in a little bit.
Okay.
So I also did these pieces, these little flower designs started out as earrings. And then I used the JB Water Weld. So if you look at this picture here in the
there's
bottom right, it shows the flower bits being added on. So the red stone was what I was looking for in the yeah.
Can I ask you about JB Waterworld? Is it
Yes.
something you can sand after it's
Yes.
set? Okay.
Yes. You can sand it after it's set and paint it and everything. Just make sure it gets all over. So if you can see in the big picture, I laid down parchment paper so that I didn't get it all over, because it will get into things and it will take a while to get out of your hands. I suggest like the pumice soap to get it out, because otherwise it's going to be on your hands for like days.
You said it sets fast. What kind of set time is it?
I want to say it's like 25 minutes for soft cure, and to fully set is like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it starts getting harder and harder to work with, just like any epoxy clay.
Right.
So the soft work time is a little bit shorter.
Okay.
So it's good to mix just a little bit and then work with it and then mix another, because you can blend it and you can sand it down.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Thank you.
I also did some resin stones. It was the first time I'd ever cast resin. I did a lot of new techniques on this that I had never tried before. Always learning. Always learn new techniques. I like to draw out my plans and patterns on paper.
Yes!
I like having that physical image in front of me. So also math, because when you have a limited amount of fabric that you ordered from China and it takes you 3 weeks to get it, and you're not sure if you ordered enough of it, it's a good idea to make sure everything is exact as possible before you cut that fabric. Same with the printed fabric. Plan that out. And layers. I did it for the base jacket on this. I went in and did just a draping form. So I created the pattern just by draping pieces of fabric and cutting them off. I go between that and actual patterns. Just depends on the project. If there's not something that's close, I usually tend to start draping it first and going from there. Labels and assembly lines. So I tried, and there's actually still on them, my boot spats have right and left on them, because one of my calves is slightly bigger than the other. So it matters. Same with the shoulder pads pieces, because they had opposite angles. I had to make sure that I labeled those. And then the straps. There are a lot of straps on this costume that hang. You can see in this picture, each one is a different length. So I labeled them by how long they were. And then ironed everything out. I learned that in serging edges of satin, it's a bad idea because it will fray out immediately. So all of the scales on this costume are serged around the edges to create the detail work. And so I cut them out and did my first couple serges, and it didn't work. And I'm like, well, I've got this wood burning tool. Let me try to melt the edges. And it worked, but they were already all cut out, so I had to very carefully take the heat tool on every single one of them. And then I ran out of them. And I'm like, rather than cutting them, I'm going to lay this down and cut it out with the wood burning tool. It worked fantastic.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So anytime I use a polyester satin, rather than cutting it, especially if I'm going to serge it, I will cut it out with the heat tool because it automatically seals those edges. It's so nice.
Do you have a preferred heat tool? Like, do you use like a heat knife, or like sometimes I use a soldering iron?
I used the knife version of the wood. It was like one of those kids wood burning
right on, yeah,
that has the angle tip.
Okay.
That's what I had, and I actually like how it cuts into it because I can get that a little bit longer line, but also run it along it. So
nice. Okay.
That one is actually super fantastic for that. Sadie and I just keep giving each other knowing nods when you're talking about the wood burning tool. Like,
using tools for things they're not intended. Not a cosplayer motto at all. And then, so the big thing on this costume, and the thing that's every single time I wear it is finicky, is the wig. So it is a full Art of Delilah, which is their longest wig, and one of their long wig clips. So my wig weighs somewhere between 5 and 7 pounds. And all of that weight is at the top of my head pulling down.
How do you keep it like in place?
So when I put my hair up underneath, because I have long hair naturally, normally I take it and braid it in 2 braids and wrap it around my head. When I wear this wig, I do 3. So I take the top part and I put it into 1 braid and then I wrap it around the top. So it gives me that anchor point and a lot of bobby pins. Also, Arda's wig grip strap that's like a velvet strap that goes on underneath the wig helps keep it from sliding back.
Oh, I was wondering because I saw that they recently like put that up for sale. Do you like it?
Oh yeah, so I got mine a couple years ago, and it makes a huge difference because before I had to use somewhere around 40 bobby pins or something like that,
Wow.
and almost all of them are here.
Yeah.
And I have worn this costume with those bobby pins, and after I took it off, I had a goose egg on my head from all the bobby pins and all the weight pushing down on my head. So also actual long bobby pins, not hairpins. That are at your wig make a huge difference as well.
That's awesome.
Because they hold more hair and they're stronger. So those things are awesome.
Sorry, that like fascinates me because I get like migraines super easy, so I'm always looking for like ways to like decrease.
The wig grip is really
things
great,
like
especially
insects.
I bought it specifically for this wig to help me with the weight. I've used it on other wigs that don't have the weight and not had to put any bobby pins at all because the wig grip holds it.
Okay,
It's really nice for short wigs.
Cool, I'll have to try that.
Huh?
I use the wig grip for styling. Because on the
I should do that.
They just always like slide off, and sometimes I can't have the pins in because then it gets in the way of my styling.
That makes sense.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is a good tip. Wig grip on the head.
Wig grip to use for styling. I like that.
Yeah. And then all of the pieces, because the wig was so heavy, all of the pieces are made out of EVA foam and have sewn in clips. So I got that tip originally from Kamui Cosplay with the little, I think, paracord clips, parachute clips.
Oh, yeah,
I think is
yeah.
what they're
Oh,
called.
yeah.
I had to spray paint mine white because the little ones you can't find white. You might be able to, but locally I couldn't, so. Because I wanted to have them hide as well as possible. And then combs, and there's a wire hook holding this guy in that hooks underneath the clip. So yeah, lots of extra things. And one thing I did that's really good on this costume that I don't always do on my costumes is like every stage throughout, I kept trying the pieces on individually. As soon as I got a new piece, I would try on all the pieces because while I do have a body form that's was duct taped to match what I have, it still isn't exactly right depending on where you're going to wear it, how it's going to rest with all the pieces. So I draped it on my wig form, but I also tried all the pieces on. And then before I took it out for its final run, I made sure that I could put it on myself.
I like that you also tested the contacts.
Yes, so I did. I got several different contacts and I wanted to see the circle lenses. And I wanted to see what the difference was in the size on my eyes. I also ended up getting 2 different reds and I wanted to see which one looked better, how they felt. Especially if you're not used to circle lenses, they do feel different on your eyes. So yeah, test fit everything.
Yay!
And then one thing I realized that doesn't show, that I also did on this cosplay, that I remembered to do on this cosplay, is...
I was gonna say, like, please give everybody like a turnaround. I know
Yeah.
our audience listening can't see it, but
So I built in pockets.
yeah, pockets.
Yeah, it has pockets!
I made sure my pockets were big enough for my cell phone.
Yeah!
Smart.
And things like my wig comb and my... They work great for a pocket for my pipe so I don't have to carry it the whole time.
That's awesome. Beautiful.
This costume has so many layers, and I used like 3 or 4 different kinds of snaps on it, pins. I had magnets. They came out in the wash. Don't wash your costume if it's got magnets in it. Make it so your magnets can be removed.
I'm just imagining it just getting stuck to the side of the machine.
That's what happened, but they were in little pockets that were hand sewn on, so the whip stitch came off. So I don't have magnets right now.
No, that was so fun. Like, thank you for telling your story, because like, whenever I've done like judging and get to see like some of these fantastic costumes, they give you like 5-10 minutes to tell the story. And it's been so fun to like listen to you tell it and get to like actively ask questions that I really wanted to know how it's going. So, thank you.
Wait, you were saying that there was a fun thing with the prop?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Thank you for reminding me.
I've been sitting here like, what is it? Does it make a noise? I hope so.
It requires extra things.
Oh.
Hopefully Bonsai doesn't get mad at me.
Yes!
The listening audience is sitting in anticipation, like, what's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? I have to use my little sake cup.
Oh, it blows bubbles! Oh my god!
If you're not familiar with the show, the character is somewhat magical and makes magical weapons and items.
That's so cool!
And his pipe is magical, so he is a magical girl.
Yes!
Awesome.
I'm obsessed with magical girls. Magical girl pipe, absolutely.
And this funny story is when I competed at SakuraCon with this costume, it was a craftsmanship with a walk-on, but I wanted to make my walk-on almost like a skit. And so I pre-recorded the audio and everything, and there was a lot of serendipitous things. So the joke is the character previously was a swordsman, and he gave that up because it was too boring. He's a master thief, and I went out with my pipe in my pocket, saying, how dare you steal from a master thief? Where is it? This item is very precious to me. No, not a sword. The serendipitous thing was, before I went on, the team that went right before me was a saber and archer.
Oh, cute! Aww.
So it fit in that way. And then in the little skit, I pulled out, oh, there's my pipe. And it had some powder in it instead of bubbles. And I blew it on. And the whole thing was, it's very precious to me. I did this in Seattle. And then I pulled out my pipe. There were laughs in the audience that I wasn't expecting.
Nice.
So it was more amusing than intended. So if you're going to have a presentation, you can take into account where you're presenting.
Cute.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on to Fox now.
Hey.
So
Hello.
here is your presentation.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
Well, I'm really excited because this is the first time I've ever talked about where we started up to where we are with anybody who's not immediately involved with my brand. So it's I've put 2019 on here just because that's when we first started doing shoots and things like that. But really everything started at Anime Expo in 2017. I really wanted to be Blood Moon Jin from League of Legends because I have a problem. I do play the game. This is a cry for help, please. I think I spent $1,000 on that game in my time of playing. I wish I didn't know that, but it's fine. I ask myself that question, but the girls in that are everything for me. I only play the girl characters, and I always steal kills because I'm a support main, so I'm just that player. But Blood Moon Jin, his mask actually has 2 glowing eyes. There's one red one and one blue one. And I was like, how can I do that? So I spent 2 months researching just eyeshadows that glow in the dark or UV iridescent. And at the time, they didn't exist. They do now from different brands. So I actually ended up spending the next 2 years researching how to hand make everything. So when Fox Beauty started and we started getting traction out in 2019, this eyeshadow palette here on the left is actually all made of creams and did glow in the dark and was UV iridescent. But after a couple weeks, it would dry out and just be really nasty. So I hated it. I did not want anybody to have it, and I still have that in my cart. I know where it is. I also was playing with some gloss options. So we had things like Dio, Leafstone, Blood Moon, Molly, and Lux. 3 of these actually ended up becoming the liquid lip kits we have in the Artist Alley. Blood Moon ended up becoming Infernal, Molly became Fairy Fire, and Lux became Archfey. Actually, I think I got Lux and Molly mixed up. I always get those 2 names confused. And I'm still working on stuff for Dio and Leafstone, and that'll kind of be like more of a next year thing. And then, I don't think I have the picture in here, but I ended up making it a powder formula with all the hand pressings. And that's where the makeup is from the picture on the right. And through this I had a lot of support just from my mom and my friends. They were really excited because I wanted to brand this makeup just based off of cosplay performers. Growing up, I was in musicals, I did marching band, I was in color guard, I was the rifle captain. So I got really good at makeup from an early age just from performances. And then cosplay just kind of kicked that off into a different way because performance makeup and cosplay makeup are 2 completely different things. Not a lot of people know that, and it's like, you have glam, you have performance, you have just everyday, you have bare, there's so many different types of makeup, which is so fun. I'm kind of only wearing eyeliner this morning because my skin said, you're not wearing anything today. So I was like, all right, we can wear wings, that's fine. And then this right here is kind of just the first promotional shoots we ever did. Oh, I do have the powders. So this rainbow one up at the top was the very first palette that we had created. It's called the Star Guardian palette. And then we had just this kind of sunset one with like the orange, the blue, the red, and the purple. And then this pink one is the highlighter palette. Since then, these 2 eyeshadows have been discontinued. They were a lot to learn from, and I hate them now. It's one of those things with artists. It's like, you can go back and look at all of your artwork, and you're always going to end up hating it for whatever reason, whether you messed up just a little bit or, there's just like one little thing that you hate. It's like, I look at these and I'm like, I'm very glad from where I came from, and I'm glad that this was a learning experience and like a stepping stone for me. But this highlighter palette I loved so much that we are actually going to be re-releasing it as a bigger size later this year. So I'm very excited for that. The highlighters are insane. They last forever, and they're so bright.
I remember I got to touch that one when you did you did some cute little donated packets for Bonsai's contest a little while ago, and I got to play with them, and the powder you use is so fine and just spreads beautifully. So
oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I think you got to play with the prototype too during the Twitch stream.
Yes, that was it. Yeah,
because I have the prototype. I was going to bring it, but it looks kind of nasty because my dog thinks that he's a makeup artist, and there's definitely bite marks on the packaging.
Oh, no.
So she's at home. So we left that there.
Helping.
So during the 2019, I was getting ready to do a lot of stuff, and then COVID happened. And I like to stay home, so I was kind of okay with it for a little bit. But then I realized, I really need to get this makeup stuff into gear because I don't like the packaging. I don't like the way that everything is pressed, because I was hand pressing everything. Everything that was made was handmade by me. I was my only team. My team at the time...
Can I ask what's the process? When you say hand pressing, what does that
entail?
So
I would take all the ingredients. So it was pigments, the mineral bases, I added a couple different oils into it just due to my research, found some stuff with that. I actually ended up buying a tool from Harbor Freight. It was $150. It's just one of those pressers.
A hydraulic press? Okay.
And it wasn't even hydraulic. It was just all hand.
Oh,
so my hands hurt all the time. So, you mix everything together, get it to a nice sandy texture, and you pour it into your pan. And then you'll just set it down, and you can actually press different stamps into your eyeshadows by using paper towels. So if you press it with a paper towel with a pattern on it, it'll press that into your eyeshadow.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what the highlighters had for a minute, because I found this really pretty paper towel, and I was like, I need that. Don't ever take me anywhere, because I will buy things that are cute that I do not need. I found a jacket in the vendor hall that I will be buying tomorrow, because I've been actually waiting for that jacket for 4 years to release, but that's a whole other story because I lost it. Anyway, so you put it in there, you have to put rubbing alcohol at the bottom of it to really get it to stick. You just pull it down and press down as hard as you possibly can. You just have to hold it there. So it's a process, and sometimes you can break the pans doing it. I didn't have access to the $1,000 machine, because there's a machine that'll just do it for you, and it's super easy.
So once you've pressed it, how long do they take to set completely?
About 2 or 3 days. You gotta wait for that powder presser to really get out.
Okay.
You can kind of use them right away. But it's better to just wait a couple days to let everything evaporate out. Yeah, it's kind of like with soap making with the cold pours. You got to wait about a month for stuff to evaporate out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm just fascinated.
So during COVID, I actually shut down my store. And I was like, I'm going to take this terrible thing that's happening and make it work for me. This is my thing. Like, I'm home, I'm safe. What else can I do? And part of that reason for that, too, was that my manufacturers that I was getting my raw ingredients from weren't shipping because of COVID, which is perfectly okay. So I ended up researching just different manufacturers all over the place. I had samples coming in from everywhere to see if there was quality that I liked from anybody. And I finally found this company, and they're just based out of Hong Kong, and my manager's name is Jessica, and I love her so much. And I was like, these are the formulas that I already have. What can we do? And so she's like, well, let's kick it into gear. We'll see what we can do with it. We can fine-tune some things that are a little bit off, just because I'm not a chemist. I'm a musician. I don't do math. Like, I can't do things like this. So Jessica went and kind of fine-tuned everything for me to get the quality that I wanted. We went through several different prototypes, just making sure that I got the quality that I wanted. So right here is the first 4 set of lips. It's that one in the center. It's the black, the maroon red, the purple, and the pink. So we've got Rogue, Infernal, Archfey, and Fairy Fire. The one to the left was set 2 for the lips, my 3 nudes, and the bright red. Unfortunately, the bright red is sold out this convention, but she is on pre-order online. So there's that.
Such a good red, though.
Oh, I love it so much. I wanted the packaging really to kind of be, I love luxury things. I think they're pretty. Like, I don't want to spend that much money on a luxury thing. So I was like, how can I make this like branded for cosplayers and still be that luxury look that I want? Because I want it to be pretty. So I found this font. I really liked it. I played with so many fonts. I work from home in commercial credit. I work kind of like in a call center. So I would be working, and then my eyes would be on my other computer, messing with things. I made this entire PDF when I should have been working. I like my job. So I really wanted to just play with like different ideas. And so with these, I wanted to make sure that the insides were really pretty. So we went with like a velvet lining on the inside. It comes with the lip liner as well. So everything was like holographic stamped for the lips. I wanted every new type of thing to have a different colored print on it. So when we added the glosses, which actually released for Bonsai, we went with a pink print. So it's a holographic pink. The eyeshadow.
Can I just say, like, it's so nice and helpful that you have a liner that matches with the color.
Yes.
Because, like, sometimes it's hard to get, like, that fine detail with the brush when you're applying it. And so it lets you go in and, like, make sure your lines are sharp.
And
I love it.
Matches.
And it matches perfectly.
My sister really likes to mix the liners. Yeah. She'll send me Snapchats of her wearing, like, a red lip with, like, a black liner.
Ooh,
I'm like,
I like that.
You're ambitious. I love you. I love my sister. She's really funny. But then my other sister, actually the one in Denver, she was the one who gave me the idea to make the packaging pink for the black lip, because black on black on black would have just been crazy. So she's actually the person I need to thank for the pink one. Please ignore the League of Legends in the background. I don't have a problem. I promise. It's Final Fantasy now, so that's all I play now.
14?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an astrology main. So right here, I actually met my social media manager through Final Fantasy 14.
Oh,
Because, yeah, my original team left me. They didn't even say anything. They just, stopped responding to messages. And I was like, you know what? I don't need somebody else to believe in this because I believe where this is going. I don't need somebody else to tell me that my company isn't going to do well. Like, I know where it's going to go. I know where it's going to be. So this picture on the right is actually of Jill. Like I said, we met through Final Fantasy 14. We were in the same free company. And so I sent her all of the colors, including the glosses. She doesn't have I can talk, I promise. She doesn't have all the glosses really swatched on this picture, but these are all the lips. They're super pigmented. They kind of set really, really well. These are all the gloss pictures that I have because we didn't have any swatches of them to put in this. But these are available at the booth as well. I kind of really wanted to go for a more magical girl theme with this one. Because if I'm going to own a brand for cosplayers, I'm going to have fun themes. So all of our lipsticks are D&D themed. The eyeshadow palette that was supposed to be here this weekend, which is still in transit, is the end of the D&D thematic, and it's the Dungeons & Dragons palette. It's got, we'll show it to you later, actually.
So I have a question, if I can interject.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you have your slogan on the side. Where did you get it?
League of Legends.
Is it?
So I I play a lot of the girl characters, right?
Sure.
I love them. And one of my favorite characters is Senna, and she gets really strong really fast if you're not careful with her. And she has this ability where you just have like a circle of smoke, and whoever comes into it turns into a ghost. And they just, do spooky things across, and you can save them. So I would scream like, hot girl bubble, and take my team and we would leave. And then I'd be like, hot girl ult. And so it was just everything that Senna did was a hot girl thing. Like, you were not allowed to touch her because you weren't hot enough. So I was hotter than you. You were gravel beneath my feet when I was Senna. Get away from me.
And so just like that, all of your stuff is hot girl.
Yeah, so absolutely. And like, it's really nice because it just helps me remember like where I came from. I don't like to forget.
That's cute.
So like, even up to this point, I've lost friends throughout the beginning to where I'm at now. And, they were models for me for a long time. And while they're not on our social media sites anymore, I will not forget where I've come from because I will not let myself. I appreciate everything they did for me up to this point, and I miss them very much, and it's just like, I appreciate the things you did. I'm very thankful for the time that we had together, but, good luck with your endeavors and good luck with mine. So that's just kind of where it is, but this right here does start the start of the Magical Girl collection. With this, we'll be adding eyelashes, a highlighter, and hopefully 2 more eyeshadow palettes if I don't decide to combine them because I'm crazy. And the artist for our palette work is actually going to be here in a couple hours.
Ooh, nice.
He designed the eyeshadow design and then also the highlighter design, which I'm not going to show you guys today. That's a secret. But with this, I also kind of was like, I need to step up my makeup game because I went from like, just kind of base, knowing what I was doing, kind of throwing stuff on at like 2 a.m. because what is sleep? I don't sleep at all. And then I kind of kicked it into gear and did this. So both of these photos are actually taken on the same day within like 20 minutes of each other. I was going to wear Wanda today, but it's cold and I don't have the cape for her and my arms get cold. And if I get cold, I start coughing and I don't want people to be like, hey. So a jacket's better. This lip right here that I'm wearing with both of them is actually the Infernal one that I just threw a gold highlighter on for the picture on the right. And then it's just kind of like fun to just watch. I really came from nothing. I come from like a really small family where I was kind of raised by just my entire family. We all raised each other. That's kind of how our Mexican little group is. And everyone was so supportive, and I think that's kind of really why I got here. My mom was very skeptical at first because she wanted me to be a football player. I ended up playing the saxophone. I was a saxophone player, bassoonist. I got offered scholarships for vocal performance in college. Like, I'm the exact opposite of what my mom wanted me to be. But it's crazy because she also sent me a text yesterday talking about how proud she was of me and like how she wants to come see the booth before the bonsai is over. And I didn't read it all the way, and I responded, okay. So, oops. But then I called her last night and everything was okay, so we're good.
Just okay.
But I don't know, it's really fun because I get just tons of people coming up and asking like about makeup questions, my products, and just when this picture right here in the middle, I'm gonna cry. I'm not going to, I promise. Maybe I will. This picture in the middle, I had taken in my light box. This was all done in my living room because I don't have a studio. I don't have a lot of money to be able to do the big things, so I make what I can work, and that's just kind of something I've always done.
The pictures look really great.
Thank
I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, they were all done in my living room, just with a light box that I had. But I sat in front of this and stared at it for about 2 hours and just cried because it was like, I wanted to show my grandma who's passed, and she was like my biggest supporter growing up. And so it was like, seeing this, I was like, oh my goodness, here it comes. It was like, I just really wanted to show her. And I knew that my grandpa wouldn't understand because he's in an old person home. And so it was like just sitting there crying, and I called my mom and I was like crying on the phone with her. And she's like, your grandma's very proud of you, and you know that she's still here with you. So just like be proud of everything that you've done today. And so it's just like this really, it hasn't been easy. I kind of feel like I've done things by myself sometimes. And I'm kind of like jumping everywhere. There's so much to talk about with just Fox. But actually a week before this is when I had hired on David, one of my best friends, as our art designer, and then Jill as our social media designer. And she's actually the person who redid our entire website, which launched on Friday night. So everything on that website is completely Jill. Like, I will not take credit for things that I didn't do. I couldn't have done this by myself. There's absolutely no way. I owe everything to my team. They are just my rock. And Kira for anybody that knows me, this girl that I cosplay with everywhere, she has been my rock. I will like panic message her. I have screenshots of just me panicking about what am I going to do about this? What should I do about this? And she just comes up with the most simple answers that I was just overthinking. I'm like, I don't know where I would be if you were not here in this moment right now. And I owe so much to her. And then a little sneak peek about the eyeshadow palette. Hey! This design in the middle is, so this is the Heroes and Villains palette. The design in the middle is an orc breaking out of a knight's head. So each of the shade names are named after D&D things. We've got like Traveler's Ashes, Orc's Blood, just a bunch of different things. The 9 on the left are the villains. The 9 on the right are the heroes. There's 2 pressed glitters because we love glitter.
Yes.
I'm not allowed to touch glitter anymore. I get it everywhere. But this palette went through about 10 redesigns. And I would sit on Discord with David and Jill and we would go through all the colors that we had the options to. We would redesign them. We would reset things. And she is currently on pre-order, so she'll be shipping out in about a week or 2, depending on when they actually get here. But it will be ready to go as soon as they get here. And she's on pre-order online right now. And you can use code STITCHANDSEAM for 10% off your purchase online. But there's so much that's just happened, and it's crazy that I'm here. I'm very grateful for all the things that have happened, whether it's been messing up. I think that failing is a great resource to teach you, because I will not learn things unless I fail at it first. So I am no stranger to failure, and I welcome the failure. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continues to succeed, and I want to fail first so I understand what it's like to, move forward and move through obstacles. I want to know what I messed up on. I want to know where I can improve. Like, I'm always taking suggestions from everybody. Like, I will take suggestions everywhere. And
there's a mantra in game development called fail faster.
Yeah. I love that. I live by that.
Yeah, fail often and fail fast, because the sooner you get you figure out the things that are wrong, the sooner you can fix them before they're suddenly stuck in what you're doing.
So I know when we had you on the show before, you talked about this a little, and you did when you started talking about your makeups. But what sets it apart and makes it so good for cosplay?
I designed it completely for cosplay. So these eyeshadows will actually stay on your face all day. I wore the prototype for Wanda. Not in this picture. I wore the prototype for Wanda at FanX, and the eyeliner did not move, and neither did the eyeshadow at all. It didn't move until I got the makeup wipe and just wiped it off. And I was there for a good 8 hours running around in drag.
Oh, sweet.
The highlighter prototype, we're also still running some tests on it. The highlighter didn't move as much as it used to, so we're good on the new prototype for her. But the eyeliner, to die for, it'll survive nuclear fallout. If you want something that's going to survive through anything, this eyeliner is the one for you. It's also magnetic, so if you have magnetic lashes, you can just pop them on. You are good to go.
Oh, changed my life.
I just got me that.
I'm wearing it right now. I cry a lot when I wear makeup just because my eyes don't like it sometimes. It'll be fine. You can cry through it. It'll survive. You want to have a breakdown in the closet? Your makeup will look fine right after. You are okay. I promise you. The matte lips, they will stay on all day as well. They really don't rub off on anything. The only thing that they have an issue with is chicken nuggets or greasy food. So my favorite food. So my bad. But the glosses are also really fun to just combo up with everything. So I'm trying to give as many different combinations as I can for cosplay. Do you have a question?
Usually when I'm in cosplay, I get super hot and sweaty.
Mm-hmm. It handles sweat very well.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to repeat that since we're on the podcast. But she asked how it handles sweat when you get really hot.
Yeah, so they handle sweat super, super well. The only issue that I've had with the lips is I did put on a clear gloss. It won't move with the clear gloss on it, but if you start tapping it down, it will come off. So you have to be really careful with the glosses. Other than that, sweat survives through everything. I have hooded eyes, so when I wear eyeshadows, I also tend to sweat it off as well. I haven't had a problem with them moving at all. I've gone through and tried to make these as helpful for cosplayers and just very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Bulletproof. They're not actually bulletproof, disclaimer.
No, that was one of the things I've really enjoyed is when you've put out each new product is getting to try it out and it really does work. That's one of the reasons we like to wear them during some of our live streams on the show is because we sit there and we like yammer on and we're eating and we're drinking and the lip stuff does not go anywhere. It's
crazy.
so nice.
There was one person who walked up to the booth yesterday, and I was like, oh my goodness, because she walked up, looked at my stuff, said, I'm skeptical, and then walked away, and I was like,
oh no.
let me talk to you about my stuff. I'll swatch it on myself for you. Like, let me answer questions. And she just left. I never saw her again, and that will haunt me for at least 20 more minutes. I was talking to Kira about it last night. I was like, can she come back, please?
You're like, no, wait, please.
I'm not scary. I'm tall.
That makes you automatically scary as a fellow tall person.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, awesome, thank you.
I really appreciate how your personal experiences come into this one and how it just like helped drive you as well as inspire, and it's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much more that we've got planned that's coming, and it's just, it's also a little bit harder because Fox is completely funded through my pocket and my work. So I'm working 60-hour work weeks to try to get everything going. But I mean, eventually, we'll get to the point where we're making enough revenue to just pay for it itself. Bonsai this weekend so far is looking like we'll be able to get the highlighters in a lot sooner.
That's awesome.
So depending on how things go today, we'll really kind of determine what's coming for next month.
Awesome, yay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yes.
So I feel a little like inadequate today because I had like.
Excuse me.
I know. No, I had like a nice like portfolio of stuff I did for the one I'm going to talk about, but I could not get a connection here to work for the life of me. And so I just brought like some of my old portfolio stuff so you guys can kind of see.
Go.
Oh, I was sliding it the wrong way. So you can see some of the builds that I've done. Okay. And like different mediums I've used and things like that. Like for, oh, well, let me zoom in.
What?
Oh,
No, it does. As I zoomed right in on your crotch, I'm sorry.
So like for these like gauntlets I did for Raichu, like they light up and they like have little like mouse things on them, and like the pants I did special tailoring for, so they actually like work like a hoop skirt but inside the pants, so they maintain that shape. I am bad at your tablet. There's just like some different things that I've built and like muscle suits and whatnot. Yay, and that's the one that we competed in the Netherlands in. But the one I wanted to talk about today was I did some Kingdom Hearts stuff recently for the WCS prelim in 2019. And I built 2 costumes for that one because I wanted to, because it's not enough to do one crazy costume. You have to like change into something else while you're on stage.
Let alone for World Cosplay Summit.
Yeah.
Quick change. What?
So I wanted to, I don't know, like when I'm walking around the convention hall, I don't like wearing stuff that's like super hot or super heavy. But one of the things that I have a lot of expertise in is mascots. And I don't often get the opportunity to wear something like that because I'm not as brave as a lot of you fursuit people. And I can't, I cannot, I get claustrophobic, I get too hot. But I made one of the Heartless from Kingdom Hearts 3, the Lich, which you play like toward the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, where you chase him through like all the different worlds. And as part of the skit, I go like, it wasn't like changing from one to the other, but I like leave the stage and come back as Riku. But for the Lich, I got to use a lot of like my mascotting background. He's made of like upholstery foam, which is like not the soft green kind you get at Joann's. It's like somewhere between the rigid foam and the soft green.
Okay.
The only place I've been able to consistently find the one I like is in the fashion district in LA, unfortunately. Because everywhere else just does not have like large sheets of it. It doesn't have the right strength to it.
Is it because it's an upholstery foam?
Yeah, it's an open cell upholstery foam.
I know somewhere local that you can probably get it.
Okay, I'm gonna chase you down for that. But I used like 1.5-inch thick sheets to build that one, and I built like a round barrel body for the main part, and then he has like a really long head with like all kinds of like wavy crisscross things and like the, you know, typical Heartless like skull mask sort of things, and It was definitely a build where I got to use like almost everything that I have learned along the way, which is something I like to incorporate into a lot of my stuff. So for him, I had to also give the illusion that like, because it's heartless and you can usually like see through them, like the heart shape. And you're like, okay, how do I do that? And I had to figure out a lot of different problems and solve them. So yeah, upholstery foam base for that one. And then I actually got a stretch velvet to cover him in. That's really helpful when you're working with things that have a foam underneath, is something that stretches, because odds are pattern does not exist for the shape you're making. So having something that can stretch over a form, because you're probably going to do a lot of hand sewing, a lot of fudging things to fit. So having something with a little bit of stretch that you can pull into the right shapes is really helpful. So with the, I'm just gonna, you could turn it off if you want to. I just had them to be like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
I'll leave that one up. It's cute.
Love JoJo's. So having a stretch fabric helps. The only trouble I ran into with that was I also needed it to be like ombre, so like fade from one color to another in a nice gradient. Because the Heartless had like mostly black, but then the tips on things were pink or yellow or whatnot, and so that was super fun. So it was a lot of alternating between hand sewing and things I could pull off the form and put through a machine, and finally got everything to stretch over the shape. And like, if you guys want, I can give you a card after and you can see what the final result was, but I could not get it to send. And one of the other things I did was for the Heartless Mask, I ended up sculpting that by hand using like foam clays, and I actually I have light up eyes inside of it as well. And for that one, like, we like using your motto is create the impossible with the cheaply available.
Yes.
So what I did for the eyes is I needed like a rounded yellow shape, and I did not have a lot of like, where I was living at the time, I didn't have a lot of options for tools available. So I actually went to the dollar store, found some like children's fake fruit, like for their grocery store playing stuff, and I got these 2 like lemons, and I cut the lemon in half and I used both sides to make the eyeballs. And because I needed it like thin enough plastic that it could see the lights, but like, yeah, and so they're made of lemons. And then the rest is like sculpted, and I did like a gradient painting, and then I covered the whole thing in resin, so that it would be really firm and durable, which means it can take a beating. And that's all like way up inside, like the site for mascots, you have to like really plan in advance where you can see versus where the face on the mascot is. And with the Heartless, because it was like a big round body, but then it had like a tall pillar, like head with like crazy wavy things popping off of it, and his face was like way up here. So I had like a battery pack just above my head that I could like switch on, and then his face would light up here. So that was super fun. And he had like really like big flappy arm thingies. I also did like a staff for him out of the rigid insulation foam, which is like super great if you need a lightweight prop, but gives you a lot of like sculpting ability, because it sands really fast. So make sure to like keep that in mind when you're sanding, is it will take off a lot with just a little bit of effort. But you can get really wild shapes with it fairly easily and fairly quickly.
So you're talking about like the blue foam?
Yeah, the big blue sheets. Yeah, that you can just get at the hardware stores. So I did that for the staff, which is like a heart shape with like spinities coming off of it and things like that. And after getting the shape the way I wanted, getting it painted in a nice like ombre to match everything else, like I did with the mask, what I did with most of the props is I also coated it in resin, so it had a nice shine to it, and also because rigid insulation foam is quite fragile, is the downfall of it, so people tend to either cover it with Warbla or do some kind of treatment to it so it won't like immediately snap if it falls. So at the time, I did not have time to ship in Warbler, so I was like, I'm just going to cover it in a couple coats of resin so it has a nice hardness to it. And that's most of the Heartless. The other thing I did, like, just for fun embellishments, because you know me and I like to add sparkles on things. So like with the Heartless, it had like this swirling vortex in its tummy. And so I found this like crazy stretch disco fabric that was like pink and white swirls going through it with like confetti dot sparkle on it. So I got that. I got beads and I got sequins, and I actually went in and sequined and beaded in between, like, so it sparkles too. Yeah, and then for Riku, I got to like show a lot of the tailoring and show a lot of like fun techniques. I like adding in like little extra bonus things. So if you guys have played Kingdom Hearts, especially 3, they have the hidden emblems on every world you go to, and you have to hunt them down. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this for the judges during our costume judging. I'm like, there are 3 hidden emblems on my costume. Can you find them? So I had like pockets you would flip up and find like a hidden Mickey head, and like.
Did they find them all?
They did, yeah. So for that one, I had a lot of fun with it because we, like, with the Kingdom Hearts designs, they're a lot more realistic than, say, like 2D cartoons, but you still are missing a lot of detail you might find in the real world. Except for at the very end, I won't spoil like what happens, but they're in like Harajuku, because they're right in front of the, Scramble Crossing in Japan, and all of a sudden their outfits look like way more realistic and shiny and have details that you don't see in the game. And I was like, I'm going to do mine based on that, but add embellishments that would be fitting in a world like that. And because the outfit's pretty simple looking at it, I wanted to find ways to still make it feel like a master level costume. So I actually went online and looked at references from the Naruto stage play.
Oh.
So so they did a stage play for Naruto where they had like actors playing the characters on stage, but they embellished them like you would see on a stage. And since Naruto is not going to be like sequins and sparkles and rhinestones, I wanted to see how they would embellish something like a ninja, something that's a little more street fashions like they have in Naruto. And what they did with that is they had a lot of like rivets, they had studs, they had extra seams, and like different ways to show off that it's a pretty and elaborate costume without being like it's glitter, you know? Not that I don't love glitter, I do. So with Riku, I embellished it by adding like hundreds of little rivets along each seam to embellish it. On the inside, I actually like hand painted and embroidered a cute little design, because like the trio are always like, you know, even if we're not together, our hearts are. So I had like a little heart inside that had a picture of Kairi and Sora together. So you don't get to see it unless you like see me wear the costume. And just had so much fun adding all of the little like embellishments and details and gradients. And I don't know, for me, the funnest part is like making it come to life in my own way. And I'm sorry I don't have a picture of that one because it's one of my favorite builds.
We'll put it on the blog.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Yeah. But like I said, if you find me after, I will give you a link to my website and you can see some of the details of the build.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
so I hope that was descriptive. And
it's like you definitely had to be like auditorially descriptive.
Right on. Right.
But no, I and with your guys' permission, if it's alright if I post your pictures on the blog too, so that way when people listen, they can go and see the references that you're talking about and so on. I love this panel so much. It's like, we're just over an hour and already we're at the end. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to open up for questions right now. So if you guys have any questions that you want to ask the panelists, otherwise I'm going to do the wrap up.
There's one thing that I did forget though.
Oh yeah.
When Fox was first getting started with like the cosplay makeup and everything was handmade, we actually ended up helping one of the teams that was competing for World Cosplay Summit. Like I think it was the same year you guys did Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah.
We actually helped them make all their eyeshadows. And I taught them everything that I knew about it, and so they went through and made everything, And then the following winter at Holiday Matsuri, me and Kira were competing for the Winter Crown. And we'd handmade all the makeup for that, from the lipstick to the eyeshadows, kind of everything, except for TSA kind of did me dirty and broke all of my makeup on the flight, and also stole my Scout fly cage because we did Monster Hunter. But, I mean, honestly, it was a good experience either way. I only look at the positives. The negatives kind of bum me out, but, you know, they're good to remember.
Yeah.
So, it's a joke now. I don't know, TSA.
Stinking TSA.
So after on this custom, I also forgot something.
Oh, go ahead.
Something I added, I learned later and added as a really good detail, especially when using brocades. So the shoes that I have gems in them. They are drop crystals.
Well, they sure do.
And that's a problem when it comes to brocades. And I found this lovely, it's technically I think a type of interfacing that you can get. I found it at Walmart, but I think you can get it at Joann's. It's an iron-on plastic.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah.
And it's clear.
Yeah, it's a clear iron-on plastic. So I took a few inches on because of course all of my pieces drag on the ground because Lynn is extra. And I put it on all of the pieces that go near the shoes, but also drag on the ground to help. So I make a little bit of noise when I walk, but it's also really pretty thin. A lot of the plastics that I've seen people use in the past are really thick and make it really stiff, and it does add a little bit of stiffness, but it's actually pretty flexible. So all of my
genius.
brocade bottom pieces have this strip ironed onto it to help it so that it stops catching on my crystals.
That's such genius. Oh my gosh. What is one bit of advice that you would give somebody who is getting into cosplay? They're looking at, you guys and all of your amazing things that you've talked about today. And what advice would you give them so that if this is what they want to do, what would you wish that you'd been told?
If you feel good in it, you look good in it.
I think the best advice I can give to cosplayers is never stop learning. People think that once you're at a certain level, you're just good and that's all there is, the end, you can do anything. But no, one of my favorite parts of cosplay is there's always something more to learn. There's always ways to improve. There's always something you're not good at. And challenging yourself and learning new things is my favorite part of cosplay. And when you get don't let ego get in the way of making yourself better.
My tip is there's no one true way.
Yes, that is a good one.
Just because somebody says, "Oh, this is the way you have to sew this," or "This is how you need to make this thing," don't take that. It's not true. It really is not true. I've judged some contests in the past, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, I didn't sew this the right way, or I didn't use the right material for this. Does it look how you wanted it to look? Does it wear how you want it to wear? Then you did it the right way."
You might even surprise some judges where they, especially when you get more and more experienced, you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to use these materials." And then somebody comes in, a beginner comes in, and they use a material in a way that you've never seen before, and it works.
Do you remember when you judged me in the cosplay contest and I made a helmet out of tinfoil?
Yes. That was genius.
I made a Deathstroke helmet out of tinfoil, and then I covered it in newspaper, like how you make piñatas. And I had no experience sanding anything, so it definitely wasn't sanded, I'm not going to lie. But I took JB Weld and clay, and I used the clay to sculpt out parts of the helmet, and then JB Welded it on because I didn't know about resins at the time. I was 16, and it honestly didn't look as bad as I thought it did. Like, I have pictures of it, and I'm like, ew, I could do that better now. But I'm still like, man, I did that with tinfoil.
Nice.
It was impressive.
My biggest thing when I'm looking at materials is drape and or shape. So, like, you use the lemons because that was the right color and shape. And I've gone out and done. Hey, I'm gonna go shopping for my cosplay at Lowe's. I'm gonna go in and go to the dollar store.
Heck yeah.
I'm looking for a specific shape. I don't care what it is.
I love thrifting. Like,
And it doesn't have to be
Savers,
expensive
yeah,
either,
whatever.
because one of the things that you see in a lot of behind the cosplay, like for example, rivets. Googly eyes make great cosplay rivets. They're really cheap, really lightweight, and all you have to do is spray paint on them.
Sadie's very noisy when she walks around in her armor. It's all like jingle, jingle, jingle.
So-
It's all googly eyes.
Just because it's not a traditional method or material, don't think you can't use it.
Yes.
Try it.
Cosplay is the creation of the impossible with the cheaply available. You see it, you're like, that's perfect, that's what I need. Do it. Because, like, why not? No one's stopping you. I mean, I was always embarrassed, like, going through the Home Depot checkout and being like, they're like, oh, what you moving? You got a whole bunch of, like, floor sliders. And it's like, yeah, sure, I'm moving a couch. No, they're plugs for armor. Oh, do we have a hand over here? Yes.
All of the pink fur on his costume is from the jacket, so it has the DI.
Awesome.
yeah.
Make a really big clock picture, and all the stuff from here to the dollar store.
Oh my gosh, that's
Repurposing.
Amazing. So for the podcast, all of the pink on this person's costume is from a coat from the DI.
Yeah, we did the sleeves off of the jacket.
Yeah, the sleeves of the jacket are
the
on their
leggings.
calves.
That's awesome.
It's perfect.
That
It's
is
like you can
awesome.
find and repurpose stuff. Like, don't feel like there's just one way. And when someone gets up here, or you see at other conventions and whatnot, and they're like, this is how I made this, you can use that as inspiration to go out and make your own thing, but you don't have to do it exactly the same way as them. That is one thing about cosplay, is like, we're out there, we're trying to become these characters, but also there's a little bit of you in your cosplays.
Yeah, and even materials. Don't think you have to use the quote unquote right side out. I have a Riku cosplay that I made her top out of an orange penne velvet. The velvet's on the inside. It's the back part that was the right color and the right matte look, and I had it on hand.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, when you walk around, the store or your recycle bin, and you're like, "Oh, that's a cosplay." You know you're on the right
Color,
track.
that color reminds me of this character.
See, my problem is I collect it before I get the costume idea, so I'm just like, ooh, that might be a cool costume, and I just hoard it like a dragon.
Yeah. All right.
The inside of his head, it's a mail delivery box.
It's a mail delivery box.
A mail delivery
I
box.
love
The
that.
ball cap to set it to your head. Nice.
Nice.
And then most of the hat is made from a Coca-Cola box.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, cosplays made out of recycled items are amazing.
Yes.
I've seen someone make an entire dress, like ball gown type dress, out of duct tape.
Yeah.
I have seen the same with soda tabs.
Soda tabs, yes.
Oh my god.
Soda tabs and ribbon.
It's like, get out there, be creative. Like, it can be anything that you want it to be. All right. Do we have any more questions before?
It's cool.
Yes.
What did you use to finish the EVA foam on your headdress?
So the EVA foam I took and sprayed it down with Plasti Dip so that I could get a nice smooth coat. And then the color, so the gray, the dark gray is, I want to say it's a version of Rust-Oleum spray paint, and then clear coat everything. So
Spray paint clear coat?
yeah, so Plasti Dip to seal the EVA foam, and then spray paint and clay pipe.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. All right. Cool. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
And if anybody wants to come up and
Yes.
touch, see, handle.
Yep, we've still got the room. So you guys can go ahead and come and take a look, ask questions that you didn't want to ask before. You are all welcome to, and if you want to, you can listen to the podcast Cosplay Stitch and Seam on anywhere where you can hear podcasts. I can words. Special thanks to my co-host Pannon.
Yay!
And David, editor, way over there.
Yay,
He's such a trooper this weekend. Yeah, so thank you guys so much. Remember, get out there, create the impossible, make it out of whatever you find.
Yay! All right.
Yay.
Yay!
That was so like I was so excited to be on that. Like, one, because it was really fun to talk about the builds, but two, because like I was really excited to see Misty Nin's story on how she built that, because I have just like adored that costume from afar, and getting to see all the like minutia and also get to see it up close because she was there wearing it was really fun.
No, and
I never realized how much detail she put in there. Sorry, David.
No, you're totally good.
Yeah.
I remember when I was like helping set up, and I was like, hey, let me move this around. I don't want you to like accidentally crunch the edge of your costume. And she goes, oh, no. It's taken care of. And I was like, I don't understand what that is. And then in like when she talks about how like, oh, she did this protective layer on the edges of her dragging capelet or whatever. It was like, oh
yeah.
That's amazing.
It was really cool. A lot of like clever techniques and like really thinking about not just like making it look like the character, but also the wearability, and really fun.
Yeah, and finding like the actual materials because it's based off of a doll.
I know, it's so cool.
Yes. And then frickin' Winter Fox and the story of like how the makeup all came to be. And
yeah, like we had him on the show a while back, but it was really cool to get to like talk about how he built the brand and like all the work that went into it. And his cute mom, I got to meet her at the convention. So adorable. Yeah, she came to our table.
Oh, I missed it.
But yeah, now that we've hit such like fun, positive things, do we have any cosplay horror stories this week?
Yeah, we do have one. This says, hello, not really a horror story per se, but I was terrified before arrival. That works.
Yeah.
I'm a plus-size person, but I adore Attack on Titan, and badly wanted to be the female Titan. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Well, my 3 daughters and I were preparing to go to our first con, and I was the female Titan. My middle daughter was Mikasa, and since we were meeting J. Michael Tatum, my oldest was Seal Phantom Hive, and the youngest was Lizzie Midford.
Oh, cute.
That's so cute. I didn't want my fear of basically being naked ruin my girls' time, so after spending weeks of painting a bodysuit, toe, socks, and gloves, it was time. And in the end, I had a security lady go, damn, girl, you're rocking that costume, and even had a guy checking out my butt. Normally awkward, but kind of made me way more comfortable. I even got complimented by one of the panel people because I was a mom in cosplay with my kids. And that was sent in by Kari Dorego.
That's awesome.
Dude, that's so cute. I love seeing things like that, and it's just like, sometimes when you get in a cosplay, you're like, what is this? And I'm not used to, like, this kind of, like, attention. But then you're like, it's actually kind of fun.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that, like, one, that she got to rock her cosplay, like, despite being afraid and, like, worried. And also get to, like, do that with her children. That's so cool. I love seeing families out cosplaying together and enjoying it together.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sending that in. If you listeners at home, as we start getting more and more cons coming up, if you have horror stories, happy stories, or just like want to tell us how you're doing, you can do that at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com or
you can go to the website and fill the googly Google form at cosplaystitchandseam.com, or
Send us a message on the Facebook page. And while you're on the internet, join our fantastic Work in Progress Wednesdays with our fantastic community, or hang around long enough just to see a Discord link. Enjoy our Discord, where we have many different channels, and we don't talk just cosplay. We even have a channel just for food. Somebody shared something from the Skyrim cookbook, and it looks amazing.
I know.
Okay,
I wish I could have crab, but I can't. But it looks so good.
That cookbook is legit. I got it from my brother-in-law, who does a ton of cooking, and I can't wait for him to cook some stuff from it.
Delicious.
So if you want to join our fantastic community, there are many different ways to do that. Also, if you want to support the show, we have so many different ways that you can also do that. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcast, Podchaser, Audible, wherever they let you. We'll even give you a shout out. And we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/cosplaystitch. Some of the amazing people we need to thank are Livy, Yggdrasil, Dr. Steggy, James Donaldson, Cynics, at Queer Eye Sci-Fi, Howl Cause, Hot Riku, Rena Mira, Jazzy Kofed, Jaguar Quinn, Gloria Shu, Sudi, Stacy Pitt, Shock H, and
Silver Deeds. Thank you guys so much. We could not make the show happen without you. We appreciate you, and we just love that you're listening. As always, if you guys want to check out foxbeautycosmetics.com, that's Fox with 2 X's, use the promo code Stitch and Seam and you can get 10% off your purchase. Thanks as always to Macy Roberts for the use of her music as our theme song, and to David Jeffress for his amazing editing. We are always sorry, David.
Always so sorry, especially me.
How are your own podcasts doing?
Going great. We talked about Neil Gaiman's The Eternals on Comic Trades Monthly, and next month we are going to be reading The Lumberjanes. I have heard nothing but great things about Lumberjanes, and I cannot wait to get into it. So if you enjoy comic books,
good things.
Yeah, if you enjoy comic books and kind of long-form discussion of what they mean to you or how they impact you, feel free to go over there. The Last Voice, Season 1 is done. Why have you not listened to it? Leave me a review there. Some people are really saying nice things about it, and I really appreciate all of you guys. You guys are fantastic for checking it out.
Yeah. I'm excited. How soon is Season 2 coming out? Is that going to be another NaNoWriMo November?
No, I'm going to be busy in November.
Yes.
But I will probably be writing while I'm on vacation and working with my editor and seeing what we can do for the story side of things.
Heck yeah, I'm so glad you get to take some you time and have some fun out of the country.
Yes.
Excited and jealous. Let's see what else. I think that's everything. Hey, did you know, I mean, you probably knew that light travels faster than sound, right?
Yes.
Sure.
That's why some people
science.
Yes, you do. But did you know that's why some people appear bright until you hear them speak? Hey. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
I'm bright until I speak.
Definitely a mood.